What's up, fantasy fans? As always, I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my new all-time favorite series, Sun Eater by Christopher Ruocchio, specifically Demon in White and Kingdoms of Death. So first, I'm going to talk about Demon in White. One has rank because one deserves it, and if one does not deserve it, he will lose his rank or his life. A man would do well to be worthy of his honors, else he will be deposed as a tyrant. Alright, so I'm going to do a spoiler-free review of this, then I'm going to go into spoiler-filled, and then spoiler-free of this, and then spoiler-filled of this. So first off, there's been a little bit of talk on BookTube about like, oh, just get through Empire of Silence, you get to Howling Dark. Or, oh, if you didn't like Howling Dark, Demon in White will really hook you. And I don't really like that talk because to me, all the strengths that Christopher has in Demon in White were there in Empire of Silence. It's not a course correction. Like the people who are talking about Empire of Silence like it's a bad book are not the people that are going to love this book, you know, because all the Sun Eaterisms are there from the beginning. They just become more and more Sun Eatery. And Demon in White, man, it is probably the most Sun Eater book. I think that's why so many people love it. It is brilliant. And the closing third of this book, the final act of this book, it really doesn't follow a 3-act structure. But if you were to say like the last third of this book is excellent. It cemented Hadrian Marlowe as one of my favorite protagonists in fiction, not in sci-fi, not in fantasy, in fiction, period. I would put him next to Fiddler, next to Fitz from Realm of the Elderlings, next to Aragorn and Samwise, next to, what are some other, Arathon Safalin. You know, this is a character that is so nuanced, and what I love is Christopher, you know, everybody's like, oh, I've heard people say this is derivative of Book of the New Sun. I haven't read Book of the New Sun, or it's similar to Dune. First off, Paul Atreides is not a good person. And to my understanding, Severian from Book of the New Sun is not a good person. What I love is Ruocchio is able to take the heroic character in a time where everybody wants to do the morally gray or the morally nuanced character. Hadrian's very nuanced in the way he's written, but he is a hero. He's a hero. And I've heard people say that this book is pro-genocide, that Hadrian's this, Hadrian's that. I couldn't get behind him because he's lived a privileged life. Hadrian Marlowe is without a doubt one of the best protagonists in sci-fi ever, not currently ever. Very few characters, if any, have I been this intimate with, that I've experienced their thoughts, that I've experienced, like when something emotional happens to Hadrian, you feel it deep, you know? And man, the relationships with Polino, with Valka, with Octavia Corvo is a fucking unit. She is badass. And oh my gosh, this book introduces, we're staying spoilers. This is spoilers vague. If you don't even want to know character names, you can click off, but I'm not going to spoil any plot points. Lorien Aristides is such a G. This is like the Tyrion Lannister of Sun Eater, while still being very different, but he has that kind of Tyrion Lannister, Locke Lamora type of, you know, smartassery that I really, really love. In fact, slight spoiler here, there's a part where he kind of schools this character by the name of Alexander, and you know, it's just it's a really satisfying scene, and it just shows how sharp his wit is, and he is giving Polino a run for his money for my favorite side character in this book. Just truly exceptional. But yeah, so I'm going to get into spoilers about it. So that third act, absolutely phenomenal. When he told the men to hold Polino down, and then he like chose the reality where he wouldn't be burned, and then oh my gosh, I love the bromance, but also like father-son relationship between Polino and Hadrian. And oh my gosh, if you know what comes next. Anyway, Polino and Hadrian have such an amazing dynamic, and seeing he's like, oh, you son of a bitch, like, you know, I listened to it on audiobook. Samuel Rukin does a phenomenal job. Nobody else could be the voice of Hadrian Marlowe, and you know, the voice he has for all these characters is so distinct. Man, that third act was amazing. But to go back a little bit, finding out Tor Gibson was alive was an absolute 1-2 punch, especially with that line in Howling Dark where he he sees Gibson in that crowd. This is well before the quiet stuff. And he's like, those lost to us do not come back to us, reader. Neither can we turn back time. But you lied, Christopher. And then you realize, like, okay, you never spelled out that Tor Gibson was dead. Hadrian never spelled it out in the narrative. But he really, really led us on a very depressing rabbit chase, thinking that Tor Gibson was dead, and that, not a rabbit chase, but made us go down this path mentally where we thought that this character was dead. And, the only sort of father figure that Hadrian Marlowe had, and he is Hadrian Marlowe's father, Lord Alistair Marlowe. I know Gibson says that the two of them are similar, but to me, Gibson is Hadrian's father. I really am intrigued to know who Gibson was, because they mention how old he was and how he was Palatine, and I would find it very hard to believe that he is not related to the emperor, or that he was not very close to the imperial family. It's pretty much all but confirmed in these two books, but I would be very surprised if that's not the case. I guess we'll see as I get closer to Shadows Upon Time. The next book I'm going to talk about is Kingdoms of Death. There is pain always, and ugliness, but the light and beauty of the world shine always above and beyond the powers of darkness to destroy. All right, so here we have the one that changed up the formula quite a bit. Not that Sun Eater follows a formula per se, but this one was very different than what came before. And I think this is where some people will either jump on or jump off or hold on tighter. Because Demon in White, it probably has the biggest mass appeal. Kingdoms of Death, I do think is a better book. My favorite moment from the series is still from Demon in White, but my favorite book has to be Kingdoms of Death. Oh man, it's so hard to talk about this one without getting into spoilers. But I'll say this, Siriani Dori Iker, truly exceptional villain. We get, the Voldemort to Hadrian's Harry. We get the Sauron to Hadrian's Frodo or Gandalf. We get, what's another good one? We get the Joker to Hadrian's Batman. This is the antithesis of Hadrian Marlowe. You have the Demon in White, and then you have the Scourge of Earth. And oh my, every single time that these two characters are in the room, the sort of repulsion, it's almost like these two characters have a magnetic force to them, and it's just they're so contrasting to one another, while also being so similar in certain ways. Siriani is not the mustache twirling bad guy. I mean, he subscribes to a certain level of Gnosticism, but maybe less authentically than the rest of the Cielson, if you take into account his ego. But he is brought up on these Cielson ideologies and these Cielson beliefs, but he has knowledge of earth art, of earth sciences, of human arts and human sciences, and he is not an idiotic villain. He's very intelligent, he's very methodical, and he's very sadistic. And to me, he is, the dark side to Hadrian's Superman, to throw in another one. And he probably reminds me the most, if I were to take a fictional character that has the type of aura that Siriani has, it is probably Darkseid from DC Comics. You feel that dread on the page. I talk about Mr. Miracle, my favorite comic of all time. When Darkseid reveals himself, when you see Darkseid, you feel that immense dread. Same thing with Siriani Dori Iker. Every single time he comes on the page, you feel it. Hadrian feels it, you feel it. And he is just a menacing presence. And really makes the rest of the villains in the series kind of look smaller in comparison. He's just excellent. So I can't talk anymore without going into spoilers. So here they are. 3, 2, 1, click away now if you haven't read Kingdoms of Death. What the fuck? I don't usually curse in my videos, especially not F-bombs, but what? You killed... So Alara went, right? And I was like, oh no. Is he about to clear house? Is he about to kill all... And then Krim goes, and then Ilex, and I was like, okay. Alara hurt because of Polino, and I liked Ilex a lot. And Krim came in clutch many times. So I was like, okay, this is enough to hurt, Rockio. Like, I'm already hurting. I'm not crying, but it hurts. You don't need to go further. I thought maybe Corvo might bite it as well. And then Cassian Durand, or Lieutenant Durand. I listened on audio, so if I butchered his name, I apologize. But so the lieutenant died, and I was like, okay, that's all he's gonna take from us. He can't take any more. When I tell you, the death of Polino absolutely broke me. Every video I've talked about how Polino is my favorite character. This broke me. This felt like Judah dying in the Eclipse arc of Berserk, in the Eclipse chapter of Berserk. This felt like a character that, while not, you could tell that they're not a main character, like Casca or Guts, or like Valka and Hadrian. Judo was just such a likable character. Only, Judo, we had several chapters with him. We had several books with Polino. I love Polino. From Empire of Silence, I love Polino. Howling Dark, when he told Switch, your duty is to your men first, your leadership second, and to Empire last of all. Whenever when he wouldn't let Hadrian go down to the planet alone, and he was fighting 9 men and whooping they ass so he could join Hadrian because he thought Hadrian was going to perish. I mean, just the amount of loyalty he has for Hadrian when he tells him, like, you have to go on, Hadrian, you have to live. I've seen the things you can do. And you can tell that even though Hadrian was like a son to him, was like a brother to him, that he's a true believer, that he believes that Hadrian Marlowe is the son of Earth, that he is going to be the one to save mankind from the Cielcen threat. I mean, just, if I sound extremely passionate or that I'm glazing, it's because I am. It's because this series is absolutely excellent. And if for some reason you're watching this because you're curious and you haven't read Demon in White and Kingdoms of Death and you want to see if it's good or you want to see if it's worth going on, because there's been a lot of negativity attached to this series lately, I am telling you that you absolutely need to go on. This series is immaculate, and there's very few series coming out right now with this level of quality. Very, very, very few. Most of the books that I put on par with this are Wars of Light and Shadow. It's finished. You need to read that, but it's finished. Malazan is finished. There's the Witness series coming out now, but the main Book of the Fallen is finished. Realm of the Elderlings is finished. This is one of the greatest epics, and it's being told right now, and it's fun to catch up and to read it as it comes out. So yeah, that's 2 5 out of 5 stars. Currently, of the series I've read this year, by a country mile, the 2 most impressive are Wars of Light and Shadow and Sun Eater. Those have been the 2 standout series for me this year. Every single entry from both of these series has been 5 out of 5 stars. And I've said, like, oh, okay, well, after reading Howling Dark, I guess Empire of Silence was like a 4.5 or a 4. No. 5. All 4 or 5 stars. They're different levels of 5 stars, but they're all 5 stars. Same for Wars of Light and Shadow. Every single book is 5 stars. And yeah, nothing I can say more about this series. It is exceptional. Kingdoms of Death, I hadn't read it at the end of my last monthly ranking / TBR, so I wasn't able to rank it against the rest, but it might have beaten Demon in White. I mean, just truly excellent. And I cannot wait for Ashes of Man, but I think I'm going to read some of the Sun Eater short stories. So let me know down in the comment section below if you want to see me review those, or if I should skip them, or maybe do a big video on all the Sun Eater short stories once I finish them all. But yeah, let me know what you thought of these 2 books. Peace.